You know what's terrifying to a manipulator? Someone who doesn't talk much. Not because they have nothing to say, but because you can't read them. And what you can't read, you can't control. Think about the most powerful person you've ever been in a room with. Were they loud? Were they constantly explaining themselves? Were they fighting for attention? No, they were quiet, still, almost unmovable. And somehow, everyone in that room was watching them. Here's the truth. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not shyness. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is a weapon, and most people hand it over without even realizing it. Today we're going to talk about the dark reason why genuinely confident people choose to speak less. And by the end of this video, you're going to look at quiet people completely differently. Forever. Most people never see this. Every time you open your mouth, you give something away. Think about it. When you speak, you reveal what you know, what you don't know, what makes you angry, what makes you happy, what you want, what you fear. Every sentence is a piece of information handed to the world. And the world, it's watching. There's a psychological concept called information asymmetry. It simply means the person who knows more about the other person holds more power in any interaction. When you talk too much, you destroy that asymmetry. You hand it over. You become readable, predictable, easy to handle. But when you speak less, you become a mystery. And people are psychologically wired to be obsessed with mysteries. If you've been through this, you know the feeling. You're in a meeting, a conversation, a social situation. And there's always that one person who talks nonstop, filling every silence, explaining every decision, justifying every move. And somehow, the more they talk, the less authority they have. Why? Because desperate communication signals insecurity. And insecurity signals that you can be moved, pushed, managed. Confident people learned this early. And once you learn it, you can't unlearn it. Machiavelli wrote, "The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him." But here's what people miss in that quote. A ruler who constantly explains his decisions, justifies his power, and seeks approval through words is not truly ruling. He's performing. And performance always has an audience that's studying you. Here's the truth. The most dangerous people in any room are the ones you know the least about. They don't volunteer information. They ask questions. They listen. They let you build a picture of yourself while they remain unpainted. They won't admit it. But most people who dominate conversations are actually the most afraid. They talk to control the room because silence terrifies them. Silence means they don't know what you're thinking. And when they don't know what you're thinking, they feel exposed. A quiet person exposes nothing. And that is deeply, psychologically unsettling to someone who relies on reading others to feel safe. Here's what nobody tells you about silence. Silence communicates confidence louder than any sentence ever could. When someone attacks you and you say nothing, that is not weakness. That is control. That is dominance. When you don't feel the need to defend yourself, you signal something terrifying to the attacker. Their words have no power over you. And words without power, they're just noise. Most people never see this. The moment you start defending yourself, you validate the attack. You communicate that it landed, that it mattered, that you felt it. But silence says, that was too small for me to respond to. Think about the wolves of the animal kingdom. The wolf who barks at every passing threat burns energy, signals weakness, loses composure. The wolf who watches, still calculated, completely unbothered, that's the one everything else in the forest is worried about. Pattern interrupt. Slow zoom on camera, music drops slightly. If you've been through this, you know the feeling. You've been around someone so emotionally controlled that your usual tactics, the sarcasm, the subtle digs, the social pressure, just bounce off them like throwing rocks at a wall. And it's maddening, because you can't manipulate someone who shows you nothing. That's the secret. Confident people don't speak less because they're shy. They speak less because they understand that every word is a card played. And a master never plays cards they don't need to. Let's get specific, because this isn't just philosophical. This is practical. 1. It protects you from being used against yourself. Every time you overshare your emotions, your plans, your insecurities, you hand someone a map to your vulnerabilities. Confident people know this, so they share selectively, strategically, only when it serves them. 2. It protects your ideas before they're ready. They won't admit it, but the people who try to kill your dream the fastest are usually the ones you told first. Silence keeps your vision protected until it becomes undeniable, until it's already done. 3. It forces others to show their hand. When you're quiet, other people feel the pressure to fill that silence. And in filling it, they reveal themselves, their insecurities, their intentions, their true feelings about you. You learn more in 3 minutes of silence than in 3 hours of conversation. 4. It builds an aura that words would ruin. Mystery is magnetic. The moment you explain yourself completely, you destroy the mystique. Confident people let their results speak. They let their presence speak, because some things, once explained, lose all their power. 5. It protects your peace. Here's the truth. Not every situation deserves your voice. Not every argument deserves your energy. Not every insult deserves your reaction. Knowing when to stay silent is one of the most underrated forms of emotional protection that exists. Now, here's what most videos in this space won't tell you. Silence can also be weaponized against you. There are people who use silence not from confidence, but from control. The person who gives you the silent treatment after a conflict, that's not peace. That's punishment. That's manipulation wrapped in stillness. The difference is the intention behind it. Confident silence comes from a place of security. It doesn't punish. It doesn't manipulate. It simply doesn't react to what isn't worth reacting to. Manipulative silence comes from a place of control. It's designed to make you anxious, to make you chase, to make you feel like you did something wrong when you didn't. Learn to feel the difference, because one protects you, and one is being used on you right now. They won't admit it. But some of the most dangerous manipulators you'll ever meet are the quiet ones who've learned to use stillness as a trap. They study you while you talk. They gather while you give. They disappear to make you chase. Most people never see this until it's too late. Now you do. Here's the final truth. The world will always try to make you speak, explain yourself, defend yourself, justify yourself. Because a person who can be made to speak can be made to reveal. And a person who can be made to reveal can be made to break. The moment you realize that your silence is your armor, not your absence, not your emptiness, but your armor, everything changes. You stop performing. You start deciding. And the ones who used to read you like a book, they'll find the pages blank. Because here's what they never prepare you for in school, in church, in every relationship where you were told to be open, be honest, be vulnerable. The quietest person in the room is always the most dangerous. So the only question left is, are you dangerous enough?